I want to go to Jack Posobiec. Jack, you're probably as dialed in as things happen around the White House and national security side as anybody. Tell me, Ron Klain announces he's leaving. Next thing you know, you have total chaos. Did they actually track this? Did they actually have knowledge of this on the 28th of January, sir, and not tell anybody?
Steve, that's exactly right. The White House knew about this. The Department of Defense knew about this. Our officials knew about this. Canada knew about this. Justin Trudeau knew about this. This is something that was kept as a secret from the American people because, of course, they saw this thing. And you can go look at some of the new assessments. There was just a back brief by a Pentagon official later today that the size and the scope of this weapons platform, or I should say spying platform, is much larger than I think people realize. 200 feet high. The payload was as large as a Skyliner. And the fact of the matter is that the Pentagon is now saying that this may have had explosives on it. Explosives flying over, that were allowed to fly over American houses, allowed to fly over American military installations for the potential of self-destruction. But the amount of explosives you need for something that large would be quite considerable. So we're talking about potentially a weapons platform. That's what the Pentagon is saying, something that could have done actual damage to people. And this thing flew over, Steve. It flew over the Aleutian Islands. It flew over the Yukon. It flew over Alaska. These are areas, even by the time it got to where people could find it, it was only, remember, go back to the timeline. It was only because of the good people of Billings, Montana, the deplorables out there who looked up one day over their backyards, over their ranches, and they said, there's something in the sky that doesn't look right, and our government is lying to us. That's why they had to come clean, and for no other reason.
Jack, it maneuvered around the Air Force Base in the ICBM field for a day or two, did it not, sir? For at least we've seen from that blue, from the analysis that was done with that with the blue tracer, correct?
I would say that's currently something that's being considered, that's under investigation. We're not entirely sure if it was being blown around or if it had its own self-propulsion or some sort of minimal propulsive type of thrusters or some kind of rockets or something like that on it. We honestly just don't know. We honestly just don't know at this point. And because it was taken down at sea in a place where it's not recoverable, at a place where we were not able to even gather information based on the remnants of this thing when it was taken down, that we're not able to find out. But the bottom line, Steve, is that for people saying this thing was jammed, for people saying that this thing was is prevented from collecting any information, that's just a lie. I mean, it's a lie on top of all the other lies that we've seen in terms of this, because we know this thing was not followed. It was not shadowed for its entire trajectory. And so we don't know quite how long it operated before it was able to be jammed, and even then, when the jamming did come, or when some of these electronic warfare Air Force platforms were able to go up, that if this thing has burst transmission, obviously they were not there for 100% of the trip, so it was certainly able to send signals back, and we don't even know what type of signals, whether it was going after, obviously military would be your top priority, but think of commercial, think of personal, think of cell phone traffic, et cetera, different things this thing would be able to suck up like a vacuum.